Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is, can the Nets continue to dominate the league? So I want to give you guys my reaction on that. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, check out our Dreamerspro Max online sports community. It's an online sports community. It's a place where you can go and start sports discussions, chat live during games, go live with us after games, consume original content that you're not going to be able to get anywhere else, and do so many other cool things. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to check that out. We have that linked in the description below. So let me get back into this video here. And now I promised some of you guys were going to be doing some more Nets videos, some more Brooklyn Nets videos. So here they are, because apparently there's some Brooklyn Nets fans out there, and we also want to, you know, provide some content that you guys are going to enjoy as well. So let's talk about the Brooklyn Nets here. So I've said that the Brooklyn Nets are the scariest team in the NBA, right? They're the scariest team in the NBA because of their offense. I mean, the offensive firepower is something that's out of this world with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden. Quite frankly, that's too much offense. It's almost unfair, right? We've seen other big threes in the past, but other big threes was like a combination of like two wing players and a big. This big three is something quite different. And yeah, we can point to the Golden State Warriors. If you want to call it a big four, it's really a big three. But if you say the big three, you're talking about Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, and Klay Thompson. Now it's the same KD. And then you can, Stephen Curry and Kyrie Irving can kind of wash themselves out. But then you got James Harden, and James Harden has Klay Thompson beat. Klay Thompson is a great two-way player. You know, he's one of the greatest shooters of all time. But let's be clear. James Harden is on, let's be clear. James Harden is on another level. Like, I don't think anyone is going to argue that. And anyway, so back to the Nets. The Nets are fresh off another win. I caught the tail end of the game between them and the Washington Wizards. And it was a close game. It kind of came down to the wire. But once again, too much Nets. Too much firepower. I mean, Kyrie Irving is one of the best closers in basketball. Kyrie Irving was there. He was playing great defense when Russell Westbrook stripped him. Then he went down there and got a score. And then James Harden got loose. Listen. The Nets, and they're doing all this without KD. The Nets are truly a scary team. Now let's talk about their record over the last 20 games. Okay, let's look at it. Let's take a macro view of this team. Over the last 20 games, the Nets have won 15 out of the last 20 games that they've played. Right, that's a very good record. 15 out of the last 20 games, and if you kind of split that up in half, they won 8-2 of their last 10. They won 8-2, and of their previous 10, they've won 7 out of 3. So the Nets have like a 75% winning percentage if you kind of average all of those things out, which is very, very good. That means they're winning the majority of the games that they're playing, and they're only one game away from being the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Think about that. The Brooklyn Nets are just one game out from being the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Now, granted, Joel Embiid has been injured, but nevertheless, I mean, he's been injured and other teams have been floundering. The Brooklyn Nets have been winning, so you got to give them their credit there. Over their 20-game run, they beat some very good teams. They beat the Phoenix Suns. They beat the Golden State Warriors. Now, some people may say, well, the Golden State Warriors are the #9 seed in the Western Conference. Why would you bring up the Golden State Warriors? Well, the Golden State Warriors are one of these teams that can beat any good team on any given night in the NBA. I've seen them beat the Clippers. You know, I think they've even beaten. I think they even beat the Nets at one point, if I'm not mistaken. I think they beat the Lakers as well. I don't think they beat the Nets, but I think they beat the Lakers as well. So the Warriors are not like, oh, you're just gonna walk all over them. Oh, they're easy winning the back. Although they're the #9 seed in the Western Conference, the Warriors are still a very good team. Stephen Curry, if he gets hot on any given night, you know, it can be lights out. So they beat the Warriors. They beat the Clippers. They beat the Clippers. They beat the Clippers twice, but they beat them once in that stretch. Y'all remember that game that they had that close game with the controversial call against Kawhi Leonard. They beat the Lakers. They beat the Spurs, who are a playoff team. They beat the Celtics, who are a playoff team, and they beat the New York Knicks. Now, some may say, oh, the New York Knicks. They beat the Knicks. You're gonna mention the Knicks? Well, listen. Excuse me. The Knicks have the #7 seed in the Eastern Conference. Excuse me, I just drank coffee. The Knicks The Knicks are a playoff team. The Knicks are for real. Like, the Knicks are playing well. So, and the Knicks have the #1 defense in the NBA. They're the best defensive team in the NBA, right? So they beat the Knicks, and the Knicks are a very good team. Let's just be honest. Another thing about this Nets team is that they've really been improving their defense, right? As I mentioned before, I watched the end of that game between them and the Washington Wizards. Kyrie Irving was playing great defense. He's very crafty. He knows how to play angles. He doesn't have a lot of weight to his body, but he can really move his feet. And James Harden, let me just talk about James Harden for a second. James Harden has some of the funniest strips that you ever see, like, in the NBA. The way he strips the ball, somebody can beat James Harden off the dribble. It looks like his body will be pointing towards the exit, and he would just swipe his hand down and knock the ball out of the dude's hand without even looking at the dude. It's just he has this like no look strips that he has on dudes. His body doesn't move. All you see is his hand just go like this, and he's looking like this, and then he strips the ball. So James Harden makes some plays at the end of games, and they've been closing out games without Kevin Durant. Like, think about this for a second. This team has won 15 of the last 20 games without their best player, Kevin Durant. All right, so are we done? Like, we can end the video, right? Like, it's unconscionable to think that the Brooklyn Nets are this good without KD. Like, just imagine how good they're going to be, or how much better they're going to be when Kevin Durant gets back. To me, it just absolutely, it's absolutely, absurd. And now I think Kyrie Irving is their #1 closer. And Kyrie Irving, let me just say this: I think Kyrie Irving is just as dangerous a closer as Damian Lillard. Y'all know how we call Dame time? Yo, Kyrie was the dude that hit that shot in Game 7. Kyrie Irving ain't nothing to play with, man. He ain't nothing to play with. He's not the dude to play with. Kyrie Irving has this thing that he does, and it reminds me a lot of Kobe. I saw a lot of this from Kawhi 2 years ago, especially in the playoffs. Kyrie Irving, is a maestro at hitting back-breaking threes. Teams could be on a run. It could be a close game, and you'll see Kyrie Irving coming down the court, pull up from the three-point line, and splash a three. Teams never expect it. You never see it coming, and he just knows how to hit these timely, back-breaking, momentum-breaking three-pointers. There's nobody in the NBA that I've seen that does it better than him, that does it at a better time than Kyrie. When you have a player like that on your team, that is a late-game money player, it's very hard to play it because you could be doing everything right, and Kyrie will just be coming down court in a nonchalant kind of way and just pull up and hit a three in your face. Boom. He doesn't need a pick, nothing like that. He's not going to do some kind of awkward three. He just waits till he looks at the defender. He's looking at your feet. The minute you're on your heels, boom, he's going to pull up and he's going to hit that three. I mean, Kyrie Irving, in my opinion, is just as lethal as Damian Lillard. You already know his numbers. He's already shooting over 50% from the field. He's already shooting over 40+ % from the three-point line. Kyrie Irving ain't nothing to play with. Let me just say that. Then the madness and the foolishness doesn't even end there. I can pull up their stats, but you guys already know it. It doesn't even end there, because in addition to having one of the most deadliest late game players, they also have the best point guard in the NBA. In James Harden. James Harden is leading the NBA in assists. James Harden is leading the NBA in assists. Like, he's just doing it again in a very nonchalant kind of way. And they have a very nice young player and as a center, and what's his name, Nicholas Claxton, who's a very nice young player. And he looks like he's filling in for Jared Allen. That was one of the pieces that they traded away to get James Harden. And they look like they found another piece, another center, a young big that's very athletic. And he looks like he's either the backup or the starting center. I'm not sure yet. But he's definitely sharing minutes with DeAndre Jordan. So listen, the Nets, listen. The Nets ain't nothing to play with. This team, they look like they have a very good shot to take the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. And if they do, that means they're going to have they're going to have home court advantage all through the playoffs. I believe that we're going to have fans by the time the playoffs comes around. And listen, By the time the playoffs do come around and they finally get KD back in the mix, and if he comes back healthy or like 85%, good luck beating this team. It's going to be scary. So what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think about this? What do you think about this Nets team, man? How do you stop this team? Do you think that they're going to take over the Eastern Conference? Like, how do you deal with this team? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Again, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out the next video that we have coming up on the channel. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day. Catch you guys on the next episode.